Hello, so lovely to see you here. Today's video is a flip through in my Hobonichi Weeks, the first half of 2025. I have about 21-ish layouts for you, so if you are having a mid-year slump and need some inspiration for your layouts to get you excited to be back in your Hobonichi Weeks, this video is for you. I will also be showing you how I'm using the yearly, the monthly, and the back notes this year. So buckle up, it's a long one. If you gotta put me at 2x speed, I completely understand. And I will meet you guys over at the desk. All right, I am so excited to do this. I haven't really done a flip through. I mean, I did one in February when I was kind of explaining how I'm using the Hobonichi Weeks this year, and then I used to do monthly flip throughs last year, I think until October, because in November I started introducing a fountain pen and I just never liked how the fountain pen looked, and I didn't want to bring any attention to those layouts. Just a personal choice. I am someone that really likes a very fine line, and I just don't feel like, I felt like the fountain pen and the ink just made everything look overwhelming in the Hobonichi Weeks. If this is your first time on my channel, last year was the first year that I was in my Hobonichi Weeks. I spent the majority of the first half of the year just trying to see what elements of layouts worked for me. So that was a lot of like the, every week I try to do a different layout. And then what I discovered at the end of it is that having a different layout just makes me more excited to be in the Hobonichi Weeks. So I do my best to try to create new layouts. We are in week 27 and I counted 21 different layouts. So I'm going to show you all those different layouts today. And then before I go into those layouts, maybe I will show you guys how I've been using the yearly, the monthly, and then the back pages. So let's just get into it. So this year, this page is still the same as last year. It's just what I do for like a workout, and for the most part, I have been really into Bunda, so it's kind of just taken over. Every once in a while I was walking, but I have not been walking recently because if I'm not doing Bunda, I'm trying to work on YouTube stuff for you guys. And then let's get into the months. So the months last year, I kind of abandoned after month one. For my months, I use them more for like planning. So if I have appointments or plans, I put them in here. I'm being less of a perfectionist this year, so if plans cancel or things change, I'm not kicking myself that I have to cross them out and hit canceled. And then I'm just like committing to a sticker sheet and filling it in. So I mostly fill it in as the weeks go by, so I can kind of see, like, kind of make it flow. I'm also putting important people's birthdays in these little spots right here. That sounds so mean to say important people's birthdays that I want to give gifts for or make gifts for. So I've been putting their birthdays here, and then I put what I wanted to do. For a while I was making charm bracelets or charm necklaces, and so I was putting like things that reminded me, so if I can kind of remember to like look for charms like that. And then yeah, so that's kind of just what I've been using the months. Like, let me show you as far as like the filling out part, like this. So here we are in July, and I haven't put in the stickers, but I just fill it out like this, and then I'll go back with a sticker sheet that I've probably already used and then fill it in so it looks, decorated and more vibrant and just a little bit nicer to look at. I still don't know what I'm going to do here. I've seen people do this as like a sleep tracker, and so is finally weaned, and last night was the first time that he slept through the night, but I did wake up a couple of times, so I'm not tracking my sleep right now. Like, I think that's just a little bit depressing for me until I can start sleeping through the night. As far as my back pages go, let's see. So I've been trying to get better about using this, but I also am slightly neglecting it. So this is all like my content ideas. I haven't really written anything, even though I have like 5 ideas right now that I could be shooting. So I need to fill that out. But whenever I get an idea, I just kind of put it in the month. And then when I, film it, release it, I put an X. You know, the only one thing that I have is hits, mid, and misses of 2025, so I can remember that I want to do like a overview of everything that I've used, consumed, just like things that are like my favorites. I love to experiment with things. I try new things all the time. And so yeah, just everything from skincare, food, workouts, supplements, like all that. I would love to get you guys a video at the end of the year of everything that I have tried in 2025. Let's see, this is my virtual cart. I'm sorry if you've seen the video where I've already talked about this, I apologize, but this is where, you know, whenever you like are shopping, you put things in a cart and then you walk around and then you can like almost talk yourself out of it, where when you're online shopping, I don't think we talk ourselves out of it as much as we should. So now I just put like, if there's something that I see and I want it, I keep it here, and then this is my, you know, virtual cart. Like, do I really want it? If I keep seeing it, it kind of like makes me think if this is something that I really want, or if I'm just being influenced because I keep seeing it online, and then I either buy, someone gifts it to me, or I pass on it. So that's this page. I did it for 2 pages, and then I just have like a commonplace. So like, you know, podcasts, memories, documentaries, things that I watch on TV, shops that I visit. I haven't really been too into this or too on top of this. Obviously there's like a big jump from March to April and then April to May, but I do want to get better and start putting more memories in this. So okay, so that is all about this section. So there's nothing left to talk about other than the layout. So let's start with the first one. So I really love this layout. I've done it a few times this year and I did it many times last year. I really love just like the very neatness of boxes, the color coordination, where it's like kind of posing, and then here. Last year, what my big focus was on trying to make things very artistic. So I started incorporating like food boxes because I figured what an easy way to draw something every day than your dinners. And so that's kind of like where this idea came in, where I would just draw my dinners and I would have like a little food table every once in a while. So this layout I also did later on this year. Let me show you so you guys can see the difference of what it can look like. So the reason why, let me see. Let me find it before I start talking. Okay, so the reason why this was empty is because the kids were out of school, and so I typically don't put my tasks on that week because I'm not gonna get to it, okay? I have both kids at home. My focus is on making their day fun, so we're not stuck inside. So this is what it looks like if I put my task. So a little different, but you know, you have the same idea, still the food table, and then you just like pick a sticker sheet and put it all over. I just like this because it's very easy. You know, if you do the color coordination with the sticker sheet, it just kind of ties the whole page together. Like here's a little like, you know, panda bear, and so I did red, but then I did pink here because it's the little like, I forget the name of these, but I put pink because all these little like, things are pink, and so it just looks very like cohesive. This is a very easy layout, and yeah, it's just like one that if I want to mix deco with drawing but still make it look like it goes together, I really love this layout. The next layout is because I had the Soatelier sticker sheets, and I feel like a lot of these, like grandpa's room or someone's room, it just needs to be the main focus, or like have the layout, you know, be centered around it. So I've done this twice as well this year. So you can see it's just very simple, very open. There's no borders for the elements. Habit tracker, task, and dinner is like the 3 things that I realized works for my layouts. So, you know, but you can always add different elements. I know some people like to track their water, track their sleep again. People are really very, very much into tracking their sleep, but that's just not me. But yeah, just this also was the week that the LA fires started, so I didn't really do anything on the weekends, obviously, because like the weather was horrible and you just never know if you're going to be evacuated. And so yeah, this was a very nice way to make the layout flow with the sticker sheet, instead of just like trying to, because there's so many big elements of these Suatlier sticker sheets that if you were just trying to fit them in where you could, like as a afterthought of the layout, I just don't think it would look as nice. As far as like this layout, they're not really my favorite. I really do enjoy having more like a bordered, squared, I don't know, maybe it's just the square in me. But yeah, I mean, it's still nice. It's still like very open and free and gives you a lot of like creative freedom with the sticker sheets. This layout, oh my gosh, I love this layout. When I did it, it was just like a thought that I was gonna do because I knew that we were going to San Diego. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna make 3 little Polaroid spots to like 3 memories of us being in San Diego, putting the dinner and the habit tracker right next to each other with the you know, the habits, or not habits, with the tasks. I just really thought this was a very cute layout. I was very happy about it, and I do really like, you're gonna see, I really love taking one of these like mild liners and making just a color border to separate everything. So yeah, I really love this layout. I still go back and I'm like, wow, like I'm very creative. And then this is one that I knew it was gonna be, so sorry, let me go back. Last year, I was very much into making each layout artistic, like finding ways I can add some sort of artistic element from myself. And then this year I decided that I wanted to be more memory, so I have heavily relied on my Canon IV printer, and yeah, so I just wanted to like make a little memory. I have these little stamps that I purchased from Etsy, these little like hiragana and katakana stamps. So I did happy birthday Hiro-kun, and then, you know, then I had my elements, but I knew I wanted the center focus of this to be his birthday. Once I knew that I wanted to make it a circle, I took out the Band-Aid washi sticker sheets and kind of like made it like a bouquet. We had pizza, we had cake, so that's kind of like what this layout came to be, was just you know, for the memory of my son's birthday. Okay, so I feel like this is one of my easy layouts. It's also like my very flashy layout because the headings are so big. It's almost like a very main focus of each section. And this is also like when I was still love to do the food table. I do them some once in a while, but I've kind of like gone away from it. But so this was the week of Chinese or Lunar New Year, and I had all these extra deco stickers from this, and so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do this layout because this layout is very easy to make with or incorporate deco stickers with. If you just, you know, make the lettering or the headings whatever the color is close or complementary to the stickers, then it like is cohesive. It's kind of like this, whereas you just have to focus on the color you're using for the mild liner. So yeah, I used this layout a few times last year, and each time I really enjoyed it. Still enjoy it this year. I think it's just a fun visual layout to have. Okay, these are the layouts I do when on weeks where I really just need to focus on how much time I'm giving to each thing. So I think this is the week that I was working on Octavian's birthday present. Yeah, because next week, the following week would be his birthday. I do enjoy looking at this. Like, I think it just, it makes something that's very rigid. I don't think that's the right word. Something that is usually not fun, like an agenda, and adding color and vibrancy and just like making it more appealing. So I do like this. You know, it makes me feel like I can see how much I utilize the time, see what I worked on, and it's just like a great visual way to hold yourself accountable of what you are working on, or like how much of what you're working on is taking. I typically don't like doing my tasks like this. I love doing like the Monday through Sunday, but some weeks you just don't have enough room. And then, you know, got my habit tracker, have my meals, and then I had this little spot, and we went to the Good Atomics Cafe, so it just like worked out that I had a little like, you know, junk journal type thing to put there. So I had a little memory for the week. So overall, I do love this. I will probably use this again when I get a little busier with work and YouTube and Hero being in kindergarten. And then this is very similar to like Hero's birthday, where the main focus I really wanted was to make it about Octavian's birthday. So I did the same thing where I had, you know, the two items to the food and habit tracker down at the bottom. Then you have the tasks, and then the middle is for Octavian's, you know, picture, so I can have a memory of it. I used this so many times last year, and I called it my lazy week layout because it's just so easy. You just take a color and then you know, put a line and then use deco. But I did this most recently, and if you've been with this channel for a while, you know that I have a hate of washi, or usually have a hate of washi. But this week I decided to use the washi as like a nice little block, like a border, and I actually really like how this looks with the washi. Like, now that I look at it with deco, I just feel like it doesn't make sense. Like, you could just tell I'm just throwing stickers willy-nilly with no like rhyme or reason, like no intent. It's just to like fill space because this was my lazy layout. But when I do it with a washi, it just looks so nice and clean. So going forward, if I do this layout again, I'm definitely gonna just use a washi because it just looks perfect. But yeah, very easy. You know, there's not much to say about this one because it is very lazy for me. This was a layout that I used a lot last year because when I first started drawing my meals, this is how I had it. Was like I took the 6x6, and before I started doing the table, because now the table I'm like, okay, I don't really need a 6x6. It takes so much room. But then yeah, so this is kind of what a lot of my layouts last year looked like. I had like an empty spot, and I went to Alfred's and Silver Lake this week, so I just wanted to like draw to remember that. But I mean, nothing special about this. It's just very like oh my gosh, I can't say this word, compartmentalized to each thing. You know, every day has their own box. The habit tracker has its own box, and my tasks have their own box. This was another week where I wanted to see what my week looked like. I don't know if I personally like this, or maybe it's because I don't like the colors I used for this. But you know, I just made it more like a line, and yeah, I don't know. I'm down to try this again with a different color. Again, I'll probably use it once Hero starts kindergarten and more things, you know, have to happen at schools, and just seeing like how I utilize my time, it'll be better. But this was like, I don't know, it was nice because, you know, even though I have this, I could still do a full-on task spot, full-on habit tracker, full-on dinner, because this is so little, whereas opposed to this one, because this takes up so much, then I have to make my tasks be a little bit smaller, and you know, my habit tracker and my dinner don't get their own box, so that is nice. But yeah, I will try a different color combination, because I think that's probably what really threw me off, was just I hated the color I chose for whatever it was. Okay, this one I love, and I've done this twice now because I have two different Sailor Moon washi tapes. So let me show you. So this is the other one. The two different things I did was, this one I just saw like a cute Sailor Moon quote, so instead of, so on the bottom where I had all this like extra places, I just put a quote there. Where this one, my dad was in town and my uncle was in town, so I just wanted to, like, I don't know, there was a day that we went walking and it was Hero and his little brother and my dad and his little brother, and I just thought it was really cute, so that's what I did here. And I just put, like, I wish I would have made all this pink flower so it kind of matched, but you know, too late now. But that is the two different things, but I do just love how this looks. The only thing I'm not, that I will say that I don't like about how this is, because obviously, like, I put the tasks and stuff halfway, these are halfway, so when I'm like writing on the next week, I usually try to write, you know, along these squares, because I can usually see these squares through here. But because I have those lines, it kind of throws me off sometimes, because I can see the line clearer than I can see what's on the page. And so yeah, like it just makes the following week a little bit harder to make sure I'm writing straight. But overall, I just love this. Very simple, just, you know, like little washi, and then you color coordinate all the borders and it looks put together. Okay, I love this. So I've been doing Rent the Runway. I did a whole video about doing clothing rental subscription services, and I've done this twice now. Let me see, let me show you. So this I've done very similar. So instead of having on the top, I put it on the bottom, but I just wanted to remember some of the fun clothes I got to wear. And yeah, so I've said this in the video before, I was using the Tombos for some of these headings, like I did it for here. This one wasn't as bad. I think that's when I started using the Tombow. But then I just later on realized, like, I really don't like it. I'm more of a micron pen, because I think this how small it is, it just doesn't look good. But yeah, there isn't much to say about this layout, because it's just, you know, remembering clothes. And you can see I'm very much into boxes for each element of my layout, and this week is no different. Okay, this one I did a few times last year, and one of the things I really like about it is that I like how I do my headings when I do it going vertically. For some reason, to me, I can do it better that way. Last year, these were just all boxes that went all the way through, and I was playing around. I was like, well, what if I did like 5 less 5 lists. So it was staggering. And then there was just a cute picture of Hero from when we went to the gardens that week. So that's kind of what took place here. But yeah, that's about it. Not much more to say about this one. I am unsure if I like this layout. I did it last year where I drew, you know, the Shogun poster over here. I wanted to remember this dress that I borrowed from Rent the Runway. And then last year I didn't have this. I just had this and this. And the tasks were here. My habit tracker, I don't like it going sideways. So I probably will never do this layout again. It's just visually not for me. Like, I just don't like how it flows. Everything feels so clunky. So yeah, this will be the last time you'll see this layout. Okay, this layout was inspired because we were going to Desert X and I knew there was going to be a lot of photos. So my original idea was to make these like Art Deco-y frames and then put them in. But I absolutely hate it. I wish, and this is probably what we'll do next time, like we go somewhere that is going to have a lot of photos. If I redo this layout ever again, instead of having these frames, I have so many of these little tiny cute like thin washies that I'll just do this with all of them. I also tried a different font, did not like it. Everything feels so squeezed in. Like, I don't know why this is so low. I should have had it up here. I think this picture came because I didn't have that many tasks and I had this whole spot. So then I put this photo and then used the washi. And I wish I would have just done that from the beginning. But, you know, that's what happens when you experiment, you live, you learn, and you know which layouts to never do again. And this is probably one I'll never do again. I guess this is not a layout, right? This is just a junk journal. So yeah, I mean, this week the kids were out of school and so I didn't really have time to make a layout, but this was also the last, we were still in Palm Springs and still doing Desert X, so I was like, well, I'll just like put a memory. We went to like the Living Pyramid and they gave us this little sheet with all of what was planted, and yeah, I just kept it like it's kind of very like artsy junk journal-y layout, and it's just nice, you know. It breaks up like the taskiness of most layouts by just putting like something artistic. This layout I did last year, I think once or twice. It's just nice, like a very clean, and then very like liney. But the one thing I did this year that I don't like is that I put like a colored shadow behind all of these, and I don't like how it looks. I wish I wouldn't have done it. This is not like one of my favorite layouts. I think I just did it because I wanted, you know, obviously you saw like I did 3 layouts in a row that were repeats. So I was like, okay, let's try something different this week. And I had all these little extra stickers from the months that have passed. So I wanted to just like add them to here. But I just don't think it's anything special. You know, I would love to just do like a Monday through Sunday on the tasks, but then I just didn't have enough room. Yeah, I mean, there's just nothing special about this. If you're someone that likes a very clean, you know, look, you could always do this without the stickers, and it's just, yeah, I don't know. Not for me, but I'll probably do it again because this is like one of those lazy ones where when I don't have it in me to get creative or draw anything, or if there, you know, I don't have a really sticker sheet that I want to try out for that week. This is just an easy one to do, so not my favorite, but not the worst. So we're back to doing memories. I did like this one because it's just kind of like, you know, I got the 2 spots for photos. We went to San Diego and had lunch with the kids, and they like had this cute face with a ocean behind. So that's kind of what this layout was inspired by. I knew we were going to San Diego. I left the spot in each next to each item, and then yeah, just like, you know, nice and clean, memory focused. This has just kind of been like my go-to, or like the theme is just my liner, square, and then a photo or something. It's kind of just like been my vibe for this year, and I really love it because some people like to journal for themselves and like no one else will ever see it, but I journal, use these as like memory capsules essentially. Like I hope one day someone discovers this and reads all the things that were important to me that day. So yeah, okay. This I did, I think once or twice last year, and this year I did it because this week I felt very chaotic. I had things I needed to do for YouTube. I had things I needed to do for the kids. There's things I needed to do for Octavian's or my work, and then personal errands. And it felt like it was too much. So sometimes it's just nice to divide the errands into categories. So this is everything I need to do for YouTube. This was everything I need to do for Octavian's work. This is everything I need to do for, you know, personal life. And just seeing it divided and seeing like, you know, like I'm not I'm not as overwhelmed as I feel, because then you just see like which aspect of my tasks do I feel like is overwhelming me, where it's like, okay, you're only behind on one video, you only have to do these two things for work, and all these things right here you could do while you're out doing, you know, other things. So it's just nice to have those weeks where it's just compartmentalized. Gosh, I'm never gonna be able to say that word. And then, you know, for like here's just dinners, and then habit tracker. And this was the first week of the summer challenge for Bunda, so I was like, you know what, let's just, you know, I drew the flyer and then the first photo of the challenge. I should have said this before with this one, because it is the same layout. I just, instead of one photo, I put two photos, but same layout. Okay, so I don't want to talk about this. Okay, this layout, I wanted it to be a little bit more, but this is just what happened. I knew I wanted the San Diego skyline because we were going to San Diego, and then I just took some pictures, posted it, took the opportunity since we're in San Diego to use these colors because of the Padres, because when do I ever use these, you know, that, especially this yellow, it's just not my yellow. But I think if I were to change it, I wouldn't have them be so square. I probably would have cut it out, probably like made this bigger and then cut it out so it looked less rigid. Same with this one, I probably would have like cut this part out, because now I feel like it just is like square. And I don't think it flows as well. If it would have been better if I cut out the shapes, but I think I need to get like an X-Acto knife because my scissors will not get that, you know, detailed. So I do need to get an X-Acto knife with like a little rubber pad so I don't like damage my table. But still, I mean, I still love it. It's still a memory, makes me happy. Okay, this layout, I did this layout because I knew I wanted to use these stickers. I've had them for a while and I was like, when am I gonna use these stickers? This layout I did like the first layout of last Hobonichi, but instead I did, you know, I had dinners and then I had heroes lunches and then I had a brain dump. And instead I did just dinners. I moved this down so I had space up here to put stickers. And then, yeah, like I think this is a good layout if you know you have stickers you want to use. You don't want to like put all the stickers in one area. You want to give a little something else. You could also do this with like a picture. That'd be really cute here. Like even this one, you know, I could have done like the San Diego skyline here and the kids on the boat there, and that would have been done. But I love it. I really like the different colors. I think I want to do that next time, is just do more, instead of like doing one color for both things, maybe like start switching it up. Like this was just a nice pastel. It matched with all the gemstones and just like very visually pleasing. Already talked about this one, Oh my goodness, that's it. That is it. Wow. So that is it. 21 layouts for you guys for 2025. If I do any more other layouts for the rest of the year, I don't think so, because I just don't have it in me. I know I did, I think 25 layouts in 2024, and some of the layouts I just really did not like. You know, I was just grasping at trying to do something different almost every single week, and so some of the layouts, you could just tell like I was pushing creativity to the max. But so far this year, other than this one, even this one, like I think, you know, it's not horrible. I just would never do it again. But if I were to go through and flip through all these, the only one that makes me go like, ugh, is this one. But everything else, you know, I really love it. I love the pictures. I'm probably gonna do more. The kids are gonna be out of school for 2 weeks soon, so there'll probably be more photos, more like very journal-y, like this kind of pages for 2 weeks while they're out of school. I know it's been so long since I've done a flip through, so I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I will link all the flip throughs from last year in the description box, because YouTube only lets you do like 5 cards, you know, where it like shows right here. So I will just put it all in the description box for you so you can see everything that I did last year. A lot of the early ones wasn't just, you know, tasks, dinner, habit tracker. I did try other things until I realized that these 3 things is all I need for my life to make sense every week. So I really appreciate you guys being here. As always, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification button. And I will see you on the next one. Bye!